The arena of Cardoon was loud with the cheers of the alien crowd. High walls of steel surrounded the fighting pit, and bright lights shone down from above. The people of the Valari Dominion sat in shining seats, watching with excitement. They had come to see a fight and maybe a death. In the center of the pit stood a man, a human. His name was Garen Holt. His face was cut and bruised. His brown hair was messy, his clothes torn. But his eyes still burned with fire. He had been fighting in the arena for months, maybe longer. No one kept track. The Valari thought. It was funny to see a human fight. To them, humans were weak, just animals who could stand and speak. Garen had proven them wrong many times. He stood alone now, breathing heavily, as his latest opponent fell to the ground. The alien creature had 4 arms, sharp claws, and strong armor, but now it was unconscious, bleeding in the sand. The crowd shouted and laughed. Some cheered, some threw coins, others booed. But one voice rose above them all. Lady Xyra, a tall, Valari noblewoman, stood at the edge of the arena box wearing a long robe covered in shining gold. Her skin was blue like ice, her hair silver. She looked down at Garen and smiled like he was a pet who had done a trick. "You fight like a starved dog," she said with a laugh. "Wild. Desperate. It's sad, really." Garen looked up at her, wiped blood from his mouth and grinned. "Then you shouldn't have cornered me," he said. The crowd went quiet for a moment. Then the laughter returned, nervous, unsure. Xyra narrowed her eyes. She did not like being talked back to, especially not by a human. Guards came into the pit and pulled Garen away. He didn't fight. He had learned to wait. Fight when it matters, not when they expect it. The prison cells below the arena were cold and dark. Garen sat on a stone bench, chained by the wrist. He stared at the wall, lost in thought. He was tired. His body ached. But he was still alive. "That was brave," said a voice from the shadows. Garen looked up. A woman stood outside his cell. She was human too. Slim, with short black hair and eyes that seemed to see everything. She wore a mechanic's uniform, with tools hanging from her belt. "Who are you?" he asked. "Name's Lena Voss. I work in the maintenance tunnels. I've seen all your fights. You're not just a fighter, you're a survivor." Garen said nothing. He had heard lies before. "I'm not here to joke," she continued. "I'm here because you gave people hope today. When you stood up to Xyra, others noticed. Even the guards looked uneasy." Garen laughed dryly. "Hope doesn't last long in this place." "It does if we feed it," Lena said. She stepped closer. "There's a resistance, Garen, hidden deep under the city. We've been planning, waiting for someone to lead. We think it could be you." He looked away. "I'm not a leader, I'm just a guy who keeps getting thrown into fights." "And winning," Lena said. "That's what matters. The others, they need a face. Someone who's not afraid to bite back." That night, Garen was taken to another match. The crowd was larger, the lights were brighter. Rumors had spread that the human was dangerous now, that he was more than entertainment. This time they put him against 2 fighters. One was a lizard-like alien with a spiked tail. The other was a huge insect warrior with long arms and a hard shell. The bell rang. The fight began. Garen ducked under the tail and rolled to the side. He kicked one attacker in the leg and punched the other in the chest. They hit back hard. He fell, got up, fell again. But he kept fighting. He didn't fight pretty. He didn't move with style. But he fought, like a man who had nothing to lose. A starved dog, yes, but one with teeth. The insect warrior slammed into him, sending him flying. Blood poured from his nose. The crowd screamed. The lizard alien charged, claws raised, and Garen dodged. With a shout, he grabbed a broken spear from the ground and swung it in a wide arc. It hit both enemies, knocking them back. He didn't stop. He moved like fire, like chaos, striking again and again until both opponents lay still. The arena was silent. Then, from the noble box, Lady Xyra stood slowly. She clapped once, twice. Then, again. The crowd followed, Louder, louder, but Garen didn't smile. He didn't bow. He stared at Sira with tired eyes and held the broken spear in one hand. She smiled down at him. But something had changed in her face. It wasn't amusement anymore, it was curiosity and fear. Later, in the tunnels beneath the arena, Lena met him again. "Everyone's talking about you," she said. "You're a symbol now. The guards won't. Say it out loud, but they're scared." "Good," Garen said. "We're ready to move soon, but we need something big. Something that tells every human and every other slave race that the time has come." Garen nodded slowly. "Then let's give them a reason to fight." Lena smiled. "Welcome to the resistance, Garen Holt." And deep in the dark tunnels beneath the Valari city, a plan began to form. The tunnels under the city of Cardoon were narrow, cold, and filled with old wires and pipes. Water dripped from the ceiling. The walls were covered in rust and dirt. This place was forgotten by the Valari, but for the humans and others like them, it was home. It was where hope lived. Garen Holt followed Lena Voss through the tunnels. His body still hurt from the last fight, but his mind was sharp now. He had made a choice. No more fighting just to survive. Now he would fight for something bigger. They passed a metal door with a strange mark. Lena knocked twice, paused, then knocked again. A soft beep came from inside. The door opened. A group of humans sat around a table inside. Some were young, some older. One had only one arm. Another wore a metal eye. But all of them had the same look in their eyes, tired but burning with quiet fire. "This is Garen Holt," Lena said. "You know who he is." The group nodded. A tall man stood up. His name was Rel, and he had been one of Earth's best pilots before the Valari took over. "We've seen your fights," Rel said. "You're not just strong, you're stubborn. That's good, we need that." Garen looked at each of them. "I'm ready to do more. I've been caged long enough." A woman with white hair spoke. "Then we have a mission for you, something dangerous." Garen listened closely. High above Cardoon, floating in orbit, was a Valari fleet station called Zareth 9. It was the command hub for several nearby planets. It held maps, codes, and defense secrets. "If we steal the data core from that station," Rel said, pointing to a hologram, "we'll know how to disable their shield systems. That means we can take over the outposts. And give the other slave worlds a chance to rise too," Lena added. Garen crossed his arms. "How do we get in?" "A cargo ship leaves every 5 days from Cardoon and heads to Zareth 9, Rel explained. "We'll hide inside. Once we're in, we sneak through the vents, grab the core, and get out." "Simple," Garen said, "but probably not easy." Rel smiled. "Nothing ever is." 2 days later, Garen stood inside a large shipping container with Lena and 2 other resistance members, Torin, a silent fighter, and Mira, a tech expert. The container was filled with boxes, wires, and tools. A small vent at the top let Nyore in air. As the cargo ship rose into space, Garen looked at the others. "You all ready for this?" he asked. Mira grinned. "I've wanted to punch a Valari since I was 10. I'm ready." Torin just nodded. The ship rumbled as it entered orbit. Minutes turned into hours. Finally, the container stopped moving. They had arrived. The team crawled out of the container and into the cold metal halls of Zareth 9. The lights were bright, and Valari guards walked in pairs, but the resistance members moved fast and quiet, through the shadows. Mira used a small device to open locked doors. Torin carried a shock baton. Garen held a stolen blade, taken from a past fight. They passed rooms filled with strange machines and screens. The station was massive. But Mira had downloaded a map. She guided them to the data center. Halfway there, they heard voices. "Valari guards, hide," Lena whispered. They ducked behind a storage rack. 2 tall Valari walked by, speaking in their strange, sharp language. Garen held his breath. His heart beat faster. The guards passed. They moved on. The data center was guarded by a laser door and 2 armed soldiers. Garen studied them. "I'll go loud," he said. "When I strike, you go for the door." He stepped into view and shouted, "Hey, I need help, a prisoner broke loose." The guards turned. Too slow. Garen slammed into one, knocking him down. Torin hit the other with his baton. Both fell, groaning. Mira opened the laser door in seconds. Inside, a glowing core stood in the middle of the room. "This is it," Mira said. "Give me 2 minutes." She worked fast, fingers flying over buttons. The room hummed with power. Garen watched the door. Then, alarms. Red lights flashed. The Volari knew. They triggered a silent alarm. Mira yelled. "Almost done." Footsteps echoed in the hall. Volari. Soldiers rushed in, weapons ready. Garen charged. He fought like in the arena, but this time he wasn't alone. Torin defended Mira. Lena fired a stolen blaster. Mira pulled the core free. "Got it. Let's go." The team ran down the hall, turning. Left, then right. The station shook. Something exploded far away. "The escape pods!" Lena shouted. They reached the bay. Garen opened a hatch. One by one, they jumped in. Garen hit the launch button. The pod flew out into space, just as enemy shots blasted behind them. They were safe, for now. Back in the tunnels under Cardoon, the resistance cheered. "You did it," Rel said, grabbing Garen's arm. "You brought us a real chance." Mira plugged the data core into a terminal. Maps and codes filled the screen. "We know everything," she said. "Where their shields are, where their patrols move. Even how to shut down their communications." Rel turned to the group. "We strike next week. The outposts won't see it coming." Garen sat down, tired but smiling. "You said you needed a leader," he said. "Now you've got an army." Far above, in the high halls of the Volari capital, Lady Kassira received a report. The human, Garen Holt, has escaped, and the data core is missing. She stared out the window, quiet for a long moment. "Prepare the War Council," she said. "This starved dog might have sharper teeth than we thought." The stolen data from Zareth 9 had changed everything. Garen Holt now stood not just as a survivor, but as a symbol of what humans could do when they were no longer afraid. Inside the tunnels beneath Cardoon, the resistance was busy. Men and women moved through narrow halls carrying weapons, tools, and food. Maps were spread out on tables. Screens showed the movement of Volari ships. Everyone was getting ready. Lena Voss stood beside Garen, showing him the plan. "We'll hit Outpost 17 first," she said. "Their shield codes match what we found in the data core. Once we shut them down, the Volari won't know what hit them." Garen nodded. "What about the other species? The ones the Volari enslaved?" "We've sent messages to a few groups," Lena replied. "If we free one outpost, they'll see it can be done. Maybe they'll rise too." Rel, the old pilot, joined them. "We've got one chance. We go in fast, take their comms, then their shield generator. Once the shields drop, the fight becomes fair." "Good," Garen said. "Let's remind them we're not just dogs in cages." The mission began the next night. A small ship, hidden in an old repair bay, lifted off from Cardoon's lower levels. It carried 6 resistance fighters: Garen, Lena, Rel, Mira, Torin, and a quiet scout named Davy. Their ship flew low, staying out of radar range. The stars above were clear. The desert below was empty. Outpost 17 came into view. Tall towers, bright lights, and 2 patrol ships resting on landing pads. "Stealth mode," Lena whispered. "We land behind the ridge." The ship touched down quietly. The team moved out, dressed in stolen Volari armor. "Ready?" Garen asked. Each one nodded. "Let's break the chain." They walked straight toward the outpost's side gate. 2 Volari guards stepped forward. "Identify," one said in a cold voice. Mira stepped ahead and handed over a fake access card. The guard scanned it. A green light flashed. "You're clear. Move on." The team passed through the gate. Inside, the outpost buzzed with activity. Machines roared. Drones floated overhead. Mira whispered, "The control center is that way." They reached the hallway. Davy took out 2 guards quietly, pulling them into the shadows. Mira began hacking the door. Then, an alarm. Red lights. Sirens. Voices shouted. They know, Rel shouted. No turning back now, Garen said. Let's move. The door opened. They rushed inside. Mira ran to the console. Her fingers flew over the keys, disabling comms. Now. The loudspeakers cut off. The whole outpost seemed to freeze. Their shield system is next, she said. But soldiers were already coming. The team formed a wall. Garen stood at the front. Blaster shots fired. Sparks flew. Smoke filled the air. Garen fought like fire. He dodged, struck, rolled, and swung. Every move was wild but with purpose. He remembered Xyra's voice calling him a starved dog. Maybe he was. But a starved dog fought with everything he had left. Mira shouted, "Shield down!" Outside, explosions lit up the sky as their ships' weapons fired. More resistance fighters flew in on hoverbikes, joining the battle. The outpost was falling. An hour later, silence returned. Garen stood on the command tower, looking down at the outpost. Fires still burned. Valari soldiers lay tied in chains. Rel joined him. "We did it." "No," Garen said. "They did." He looked at the freed prisoners, humans and even aliens with scales, feathers, and fur. All had been slaves. Now they were standing tall. A large alien with gray skin walked up to him. It had strong arms and gold eyes. "You fought for us," the alien said, "even though we are not human." "We all suffered the same chains," Garen replied. "Then we will fight beside you now." The alien gave a deep bow. Others followed. One by one, former slaves stepped forward, ready to join the cause. Hope was spreading. Back in the tunnels of Cardoon, cheers filled the air. The outpost had fallen. More planets were listening. The resistance had grown. Lena stood beside Garen as messages poured in. "Look at this," she said. 10 new cells have formed in the last 2 days on 3 different worlds. "Good," Garen said. "The Valari made a mistake. They thought they were breaking us, but they were just teaching us how to fight." Far away in the heart of the Valari capital, Lady Syra listened to her generals. "Outpost 17 is gone. The rebels freed every prisoner. And many other worlds are talking of rebellion now." "Then destroy them," she said coldly. "We've tried. They move fast. They hide well. The human, Garen Holt, is dangerous." Syra stood by the window, thinking. He was just a dog in the pit, a fighter, a joke. "But now," said a general, "he is leading armies." Xira turned. "Then it is time we remind him who the masters of this galaxy are." Later that night, in the tunnels, Garen sat alone. His hands were rough. His eyes were tired. But his heart was steady. Lena came and sat beside him. "You okay?" she asked. He nodded. "Just thinking." "About what?" "That maybe we can win this." Lena smiled. "We will. You gave them hope." He looked at her. "It wasn't me. It was the moment. The moment they realized we didn't have to stay down." He stood up. "We fight tomorrow, and the next day, until no one wears chains again." And deep in the shadows, where hope once flickered like a candle, it now burned like a fire. A new sun was rising on Cardoon. But it wasn't just a sunrise. It was the light of change. Outpost 17 had fallen. Garen Holt and his team had won a real battle. People from different worlds were now joining together. Humans, aliens, fighters, engineers, and even farmers. The fire of rebellion had started, and it was spreading fast. In the underground base, Garen walked through a long hallway. His shoulders were sore, and his armor had dents and burn marks, but he felt strong. Lena met him near the command table. A large map glowed on the screen. Red dots marked Valari bases. Blue lights showed friendly cells. "We have 10 new groups in the last 4 days," Lena said. "Some are small, some are ready to fight." Garen looked at the map. "And the Valari?" "They've started hunting us harder," she said. "They've blocked space routes and sent warships to nearby moons." "They're afraid," Garen said. Good. Then Rel entered the room with urgent news. They've taken hostages in Zone 9, he said. Valari forces stormed a farming village and captured over 100 civilians, mostly humans, some kids. Garen's fist tightened. They want to scare us, Lena said. They want to break us again, Garen replied. He turned to the others. We're going to get them back. Zone 9 was a wide, dry valley with only one road and a few farms. The Valari had taken over a grain facility and turned it into a prison camp. Inside, people were kept behind electric fences, watched by guards with energy rifles. Garen and his team studied the camp from a high cliff. Mira used a small drone to fly above and record guard patterns. There are 2 patrols every 5 minutes, she said. Heavy guns on the tower, and a shield gate at the entrance. We can't storm it head-on, said Rel. Too risky. We won't, Garen replied. We go quiet. We split into 2 teams. One disables the shield gate. The other sneaks into the main camp and frees the people. And if something goes wrong? Lena asked. Garen's voice was steady. Then we fight, like cornered wolves. That night, under the cover of darkness, the resistance moved. Garen, Lena, and Mira formed Team 1. Rel, Torin, and Davy were Team 2. Team 1 crawled through a dry trench until they reached the back of the fence. Mira used her tools to disable the power grid. Sparks flew, but no alarm. Team 2 reached the front gate. Rel and Davy silently took down 2 guards. Torin placed a small bomb near the shield control. Ready, he whispered. Mira gave the signal. Go! The explosion was small but sharp. The shield gate fell. Garen and Lena ran in. They reached the holding cages and started unlocking the doors. Follow me, Garen told the prisoners. We're getting you out. The frightened people ran behind him, holding each other's hands. Children cried, but kept moving. A few older men helped carry the weak. Then the alarm sounded. Valari guards came running from the towers. Get down, Garen shouted. Blasters fired. Dust flew. Garen blocked one shot with his stolen shield. Lena fired back. Mira covered the left side with her pulse gun. Team 2 ran to help. We have to move now, Rel shouted. Garen turned to the crowd. Run for the hill. Stay low. Go. As the prisoners ran, Garen and the others held the line. Torin threw smoke grenades. Mira fired cover shots. Davy helped a limping boy to safety. Finally, the last of the hostages escaped the gate. Fall back, Garen ordered. The resistance team ran into the dark. Blasters roared behind them. But they did not stop. They had done it. Hours later, back in the tunnels, the freed prisoners sat on warm blankets. Children drank clean water. Old men smiled. One mother hugged Garen and cried. You gave us back our lives, she whispered. Garen said nothing. He just nodded. But something deep inside him changed. This wasn't about revenge anymore. This was about saving people. About giving them a future. Lena placed a hand on his shoulder. You keep giving them hope, she said. No, he replied. They give it to me. Meanwhile, in the Valari capital, Lady Kazira sat in silence. Her face was still, but her eyes were fire. A guard entered. Zone 9 has fallen. The hostages escaped. The humans were behind it. And Garen Holt? She asked. He led the mission. Sira stood up. Her long cloak dragged across the floor. Prepare the shadow troops, she said. Release the hunter drones. I want him found. But, my lady, the guard said carefully, sending that many forces will leave other worlds unguarded. I don't care, Kisira snapped. One human has made us look weak. That ends now. Back at the base, Garen and Lena watched. As more resistance members arrived from other planets, some wore strange armor, others spoke different languages, but they all came for the same reason. Freedom. A group of warriors from the gray-skinned alien race came to Garen. Their leader, Choro, bowed. You showed us that chains can be broken, Choro said. Now we will help break others. Garen smiled. Good. We're just getting started. Mira walked in with new scans. The Valari are sending something big, she warned. Heavy ships, drones, shadow troops. They're coming for us, Lena said. Garen looked at his people, at the farmers with blasters, at the kids learning how to hide in tunnels, at the aliens building shields from scrap. Let them come, he said. We won't run. We've already tasted freedom, they can't take it back. That night, Garen stood on a high platform speaking to the growing army. They called us weak, he said. They put us in chains. They made us fight each other. But now, he continued, voice rising, we fight together. Not for power, not for hate, but for a future. One where no child wears a collar, one where no voice is silenced. We may be tired, we may be few, but we are not alone, and we are not afraid. The crowd roared. No more cages, someone shouted. No more masters, another cried, and as the sound echoed through the tunnels, Garen raised his fist. This is our stand. We are not slaves. We are free people. The sky over Cardoon was no longer quiet. Dozens of Valari warships filled the air. Their engines roared like thunder. Drones circled the skies, scanning for movement. Heavy soldiers in black armor marched through the ruins, searching every tunnel, every door. The Valari had come to end the resistance. But Garen Holt stood ready. Inside the hidden base, the air was tense but calm. Resistance fighters, humans and aliens, sat at their stations. Maps showed enemy positions. Engineers checked weapons. Fighters made their final plans. Lena walked up to Garen, holding a small device. They've blocked every exit, she said. No way to escape. We're not escaping, Garen replied. They outnumber us 5-1. Then we'll give them the fight they came for. He stepped forward and looked around the room. Everyone went quiet. This is the day, Garen said. The day we show them what it means to corner those who've lost everything. The plan was simple but dangerous. The Valari had sent all their troops to crush the rebels in Cardoon. That meant other systems were now left with fewer guards. Garen sent secret messages to allied groups on other planets. Strike now, while they focus on us. Then he gathered his people and prepared for the last stand. The underground base was filled with traps, walls rigged to fall, electric mines, and old machines turned into defense towers. The tunnels were long and twisted, perfect for an ambush. This is our home, Garen told them. They may take it, but they will pay. For every step. Rel smiled and held up a detonator. Let's make some noise. The first wave came in hard. Valari shadow troops marched into the tunnels with bright lights and heavy weapons. Their metal boots echoed through the halls. Then the traps began. Walls exploded behind them, cutting off escape. Ceiling rocks fell. Resistance fighters used small hit-and-run attacks. Drones were pulled down with nets and wires. Lena and Mira worked fast at the control room, turning old mining robots into defenders. They roared to life and charged into battle. Davy and Torin fought side by side in a narrow tunnel, holding the line with smoke bombs and pulse rifles. Every step the Valari took, they met resistance. In the deepest part of the base, Garen led. A team of fighters. He moved like fire, quick, focused, and full of purpose. Blaster in one hand, shield in the other. He fought through the narrow paths with skill and fury. A Valari commander stood in his way, tall and armored. You fight like a starved dog, the commander said with disgust. Garen stared him in the eye. Then you shouldn't have cornered me, he charged. The battle was short, the commander fell. Garen moved on. Hours passed. The base shook. Explosions rocked the walls. But the resistance still stood. Then, from deep space, a new signal came through. It was a message from Koro, the gray-skinned alien leader. Garen Holt, he said. Your fight gave us courage. Today we fight too. Other voices followed. This is Suna of the Green Worlds. We rise today. This is Captain Raylan from the Orion Belt. Your fire lit our path. This is Tora of the Mountain Moons. We fight now. All across the galaxy, people were rising. They were striking Valari bases, freeing prisoners, taking back their homes. Garen smiled. They thought they were ending us, he said. But they started something bigger. In the Valari capital, Lady Kasaira heard the news. Her officers stood in silence. 30 systems report rebellion, one said. 7 major outposts lost, said another. Ships destroyed, resources cut off, morale falling. Xira sat on her throne, her golden eyes dark with rage. One man, she whispered. One fighter. One broken human. She stood. End him. Use everything. Back in Cardoon, the last wave was approaching. Dozens of heavy ships flew down. Tanks rolled across the ground. Air units bombed the cliffs. Garen and his people stood at the edge of the valley looking up. This is it, Lena said. Garen looked at her. No matter what happens, we made them afraid. We made them bleed. Rel gave a thumbs up. And we made them chase us across the stars. They all laughed. Then Garen stepped forward and shouted to his army. We may fall today, but our fight will live on. In every child we saved, in every chain we broke, in every voice that now dares to say no more. The resistance cheered. Garen raised his fist. Let's show them. We are not cornered. We are rising. The final battle began. The ground shook. Ships fired. Fighters charged. The resistance fought like fire and thunder. Every corner of the valley became a battlefield. Smoke rose. Blasters flashed. Shouts filled the air. Garen fought at the front. His armor was scratched. His arm was wounded. But he didn't stop. By his side, Lena fought with courage. Mira led the tech group. Rel flew overhead, dropping small bombs. Even young fighters held the line. They fought not just for survival, but for freedom. At last, when the sun rose again, the valley was silent. The Valari forces had pulled back. Their ships flew away. Many had fallen. But they had not won. Garen stood breathing, hard. His people were tired, many were hurt, but they were alive. The signal came in. This is Captain Raylan. The Valari are retreating across 4 sectors. This is Tora. We've taken their weapon vault. This is Koro. Their throne world is under siege. The war was not over, but the tide had turned. The galaxy had changed. Later that evening, Garen sat with his team by a small fire. They were quiet, resting. Lena looked at him. We're still here, he nodded. We're not done. No, she agreed. But now we're not fighting alone. Garen looked up at the stars. So many worlds, so many people. For a long time, they had all been silent. But not anymore. He stood and whispered, no more chains, no more cages, no more fear. He turned to his people. We fight until the stars themselves are free. The end.